All right. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Wahara Kakodash. Yahweh being the name of who people call God, whose name is Yahweh in the original Hebrew tongue, the Hebrew tongue, in the name of his son Yahweh Shai, who people call Jesus, whose true name is Yahweh Shai. Salutations chiefly to the elder apostles and elder bishops over the Great Millstone Church and to all the rest of the Akim. Much love, biblical love, respect, much peace and many blessings to you that's pushing as well. This the doctrine, the true doctrine, this true doctrine across the four corners of the globe and hold no. So in this lesson, in this particular edition or volume of Meaning of Books, we're going to be dealing with the book, the title of the book known as Exodus, the meaning of the book known as Exodus. We'll get the word, obviously what it means, but we'll get it in the Hebrew. All right. And before we do, let's get into the importance of this again, besides just filling up on more oil. Let's go to Romans 15, and let's go to the 4th verse. It says, now whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So what we're going to do is we're going to read that again. We're going to come over here to the blue letter. We're going to get the word learning. All right, in the Greek, the meaning. But anyway, it says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope, right? And when you read the word aforetime in the Greek, it's talking about things that's found in the Old Testament or the Old Testament itself, things of the Old Testament. So things of the Old Testament was written for our learning. So not just the things written in the books of the Old Testament, but the books themselves. You know what I'm saying? The words, not just the words in the books of the Old Testament, but the word for those that capsulate or holds those words. You know, the title of those of a book that holds those words. You know, all of the titles of the books that hold all the words, known as what? The scriptures. So it says of old, see, set forth or designated beforehand in the scriptures of the old T. All right. And it's to do what? It's to depict, it's to portray. It says paint what? Before the eyes. It's to basically give you things to where you can see, give you, complete awareness and understanding, in the regards or on the regards or towards the regards you need to, have or, regard, which is obviously what the Lord did, what he always going to do, how he worked, what he did things for, what's his message, with something known as the Exodus. What does that go into? What's the message of that entire book? But again, the title of that book. So he's depicted something before you even open the book with it having the title, through the title, with it having a title, obviously. So that's that. Now what I want to do is get the word learning before we get into this. So for whatsoever things were written aforetime, as we know now in the Old Testament, if you didn't know this before, it says were written for our learning. See, for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So let's get that word learning real quick. The word learning in the Greek.
Strong's G 1319. Didaskalia.
Didaskalia. But when you get into it, the meaning is what of the word learning, that we might be taught. You know what learning means, but let's good to go further into it. It says what? Teaching that which is taught, what the Lord is trying to teach you. He's teaching you something with the title, with the book known as Exodus, and even through the title as the overview. So again, you got that which is taught, but you also have what? Doctrine. You also have doctrine. It says, so Salakia, doctrine, all right, precepts, which really, with him putting, you know, he's obviously again saying this: the precepts is giving his precepts, his commandments through these books. You know, like you supposed to know this, basically, these things. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So when you come to this word Exodus, right? As you see right here, Exodus. The word Exodus is not going to be found, is actually a Greek word, right? The word Exodus is a Greek word. It is not Hebrew. So in the book, Exodus is not, obviously, with that being known, right? Obviously the name of the book, because the book Exodus is of the Old Testament, which was written in Hebrew, right? The Old Testament, that is. And the scriptures tell you that. All right. When you go to Sirach, in the first chapter, just go to the prologue, right? Let's get that word prologue.
Prologue.
A separate introductory section of a separate introductory section of a literary or musical work. So introduction. All right. It says in professional cycling, a short preliminary time trial held before a race to establish a leader. So, you know, is you know, the race will basically be when you actually enter the book of Sirach. You know, you actually getting into the scriptures and the wisdom and knowledge and understanding, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, which is being given through it, which you can get through it. All right. Prior to that is a short preliminary, you know, to do what? To establish something. All right. Which obviously in this case is what it's about, you know, what went on, how the book came together. But nonetheless, jump into it. I'm going to jump straight down. It says, it contained, therefore, let's jump down. It says, let's get a little bit of this. It says, when as therefore the first Yahushua, as you see Jesus, which is Yahushua in Hebrew, but it says died, leaving this book almost. It's not Yahushua in Hebrew because there was no such thing as the letter J. So you can't say that, but you know, anyway, it's the name put upon our Lord, which our Lord name, you know, if you was to go into it, this name would take you back to Yahushua. But nonetheless, you know, which is a common name, his was just a compound. Yahushua, that was the name of Hosea. Joshua, his name was Yahushua, so forth and so on. But nonetheless, it says, but he's Yahushua. All right. But anyway, leaving this book almost perfected Sirach, his son. See, leaving this book almost perfected Sirach, his son, right? Because Sirach put the book together off of his grandfather, Yahushua. And his grandfather, Yahushua, left what? He left the things the knowledge, wisdom, understanding he obtained for him, you know. And then Sirach, he got learning through it, knowledge and understanding through it, you know. And throughout his trials, he got to have him living his life. He got to have those things which was passed down to him, you know, because we inherit knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That's the main thing we hold, you know, and that give you everything, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's on point. But nonetheless, he was able to take those things, that knowledge, was the understanding that was passed down to him, and have it proven to be true, you know, have it be probably further to him, you know, things that Yahweh Shai, you know, didn't necessarily probably dabble into completely or to a certain degree, or probably even at all himself. Sirach was able to, and throughout all that, he compiled the book known as Sirach, you know, which is also known as if you had an apocrypha, it says in fact, Salaki, I got mine right here. Give me a second. It says let me grab it. One moment. So I don't want to butcher it. The title, yeah, it's called, book's actually known as The Wisdom of Yahweh Shai, right? The son of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus. All right, so again, it says when you read at the top, this Yahweh Shai was the son of Sirach and grandchild to Yahweh Shai of the same name. So it's two of them. All right. So basically, the grandson, just to get this right, I don't want to missay this. This Yahweh Shai was the son of Sirach and grandchild to Yahweh Shai of the same name with him. All right. I'm going to just read it on the screen. Now, his grandfather, Yahweh Shai, as he himself witnessed, right? Now, which one is that? It's because it say, yeah. So basically, Yahweh Shai was the son of Sirach and grandchild to Yahweh Shai. So Sirach named his son after his dad. All right? Because it say this Yahweh Shai was the son of Sirach and grandchild to Yahweh Shai. This Yahweh Shai was the son of Sirach and grandchild to Yahweh Shai of the same name. So Sirach's dad name was Yahweh Shai, and he had a son in Sirach, right? Yahweh Shai's son named his son Yahweh Shai. And then this Yahweh Shai put all this together, obviously. All right. So it says, now his grandfather, Yahweh Shai, as he himself witnessed, was a man of great diligence and wisdom among the Hebrews, who did not only, you know, as you see right here, you know, Hebrews speak Hebrew. All right. So that's beautiful. And that's basically the point. But I'm going to jump down to the actual part of this that I want to read. It says, who did not only gather the grave and short sentences of wise men, right, that had been before him. See that? So his grandfather, his dad's father, Yahweh Shai, had a compilation. You know, he spent the life comprising and basically getting knowledge, understanding, getting game, you know, through him, his own experiences and then from others. And then that was obviously passed down, you know, ultimately to his grandson, Yahweh Shai, right? But anyway, it says, the second, if you will. But it says, but himself also, see that? uttered some of his own. See that? Full of much understanding and wisdom. When as therefore the first Yahushua died, leaving this book almost perfected, Sirach, his son receiving it after him. So he God spent his life getting knowledge, wisdom, understanding, put together his writings and things he learned, so forth and so on. He was a Hebrew. He was one of our ancestors. He was one of our ancestors, Salaki. Let me slow down. And then you had that given, right, or inherited or passed down to his son, Sirach. And then it says it was enough to where it almost perfected Sirach, his son receiving it after him, right? Left it to his own son, because obviously didn't do that. Then he passed it down to his son, Yahushua, two, Yahushua the second. It says left it to his own son, Yahushua, who having gotten it into his hands, compiled it all orderly into one volume. See that? So it wasn't together a certain way, the way it is now. It says, so Yahushua, the grandson of Yahushua, the son of Sirach, put this together, right? And called it wisdom, right? I think he said in entitling it, which would be key. And let me just jump to this because I don't want to spend too much time here. But it's good to know this because you're going to get understanding. It's helping you see like, okay, well, yeah, it's, the power of what it is we actually be reading. Everything was intentional. But anyway, that word right there, it is, I called it wisdom because they use different, let me see. And yeah, I think that's just a weird way of spell it, entitling. So that was obviously talking about, that's fire. That's super fire. And I done read this, I don't know how many times. Never noticed this. But that's the spirit. That's why we buy more oil. See that? So these titles is real. Woo!
intitual,
Intitual is how you would pronounce it. But it's talking about what? Titling. Give a specified title to. See? Give a specified title to. And when we get that word specified, right? So we can really get all the meat off the bone, man. To state explicitly or in detail, to include a specification, to determine or bring about a specific result. So that's induce. He's trying to get you to end up in a certain place mentally or with a certain realization. The writers are ultimately Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua. Because he used these men like the scriptures say, and then men did what? Let's get that real quick. They spake, as they were moved. In Psalms, the 60, Slaki, not the 68, because that's the one about great were the men that. Well, that's another one too. But anyway, it said, for the prophecy came not in old times. See, the things, the scriptures of the Old Testament, whether they be visions, precepts, so forth and so on, right? Came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of Yahweh, right? Spake as the vessels of Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, spake as they were moved by the Holy Spirit, all right? And then you got Psalm 68 and 11. I want to say that is, give me a second. The Lord gave the word, Great was the company that published it. The Lord, talking about Yahweh, gave the word. All these words, all these what? Titles. See that? That's specified. Great was the company of those that published it. So it's ultimately Yahweh Shai that was just used to entitle it, meaning give a specified title to, for a what? Specific result that will be induced by a specific title. You see that? That's to be exactly how he wanted to be. That's up to Heavenly Father's thinking. That's how the Lord deals. So that's how you know he's using men. And obviously by getting this, you'll end up exactly how, you're supposed to end up upon the design of this book, upon the intentions of this book, this knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Insight and oversight of things. Ultimately, you'll end up with the kingdom. It says both by his own name, his father's name, and his grandfather's, alluring the hearer by the very name of wisdom, to have a greater love to the study of this book. It containeth therefore wise sayings, dark sentences, and parables, and certain particular ancient godly stories of men that please, and certain particular ancient godly stories of men that pleased Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. See that? So much insight. And if those are things that were pleasing to the Heavenly Father, and we have them, they're gonna be pleasing now if we was to do them, because the Lord don't change. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, Spirit just got me just in the teaching mode right now. But anyway, it says Sirach, Baruch 4 and 4. O Israel, happy are thee. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to Yahweh are made known unto us. See? O Israel, through what? The accounts. That's why we're supposed to make the search to our forefathers. Read these scriptures, man. And with all that you getting through all the scriptures, you getting Bibles and this and that. Get the understanding. Like the Lord's trying to specify something to you. And that's what's gonna make this one a little bit more. It's gonna make this particular edition of meaning of books, this particular volume dealing with the book of Exodus, the title known as Exodus, which really ain't the title. We're gonna get into what the title is in just a moment. Much more powerful, but nonetheless, O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua are made known to us. So let me go ahead and speed this up. I spent more time on this than I thought I would. I put it like that. It says, so there you go. And certain particular ancient godly stories of men that please Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, or that please Yahweh. See? So that's it. So you got all the answers. You use the game, You'll end up with the same. You'll end up as the same. Amazing. Do the same thing you read that the bad do, you're gonna end up with the same. It's just, come on, man. It's like watching a movie, live. You're like, girl, what you just hurry up and go down there? If you don't hurry up and get up, you can't see this. Well, a movie you already done seen before. But this the part she get killed. Because you basically been put in a situation to where you're having prudence. So now in those situations, you will use an example like that to see what prudence is. How getting these scriptures, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and holding on to them what does for you, or how it actually do for you. Like you watch the movie, you already know the lead, already know, okay, this is the scene where we come up because of this. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. But nonetheless, it says, jump straight to the point now. So, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can read all this on your own. Definitely a good read. It says, my grandfather, Yahushai. Matter of fact, let's start at the prologue, right, of the wisdom of Yahweh Shai, the son of Sirach, whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps, for the which things Israel ought to be commended for learning. See, for which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom. See that? Because if you don't have this, you nothing regarded. You could be nothing regarded. You don't see Jakes with this, the doings and the followings and the practices of the things written in these scriptures, or upon reading these scriptures, understanding these scriptures, these books, these titles, they ain't, they ain't really, they're not nothing. They're not worth nothing. You can't commend them. See that? It says, because they wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. But it says, and whereof not only the readers must become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn, be able to profit them that are without, both by speaking and writing. My grandfather Yahweh Shai, when he had given himself much to the reading of the law and the prophets, when he had much given himself, when he had much given himself, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets. Yeah, it's a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You have to, he did that to get, he could have been doing something else ultimately to get something worth holding and having a value. Like, that's a real inheritance. You getting an understanding and knowledge with some understanding of the scriptures as a Hebrew Israelite. And then, if you do go to sleep and carry on, you could pass it to the next, or you would have passed it to the next. Your heirloom, if you will, your children, so forth and so on. But nonetheless, so they can continue in it, your people, your household, your whoever. Not whoever, but, Anyway, it says, and other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment, was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. Wherefore, so that's what Sirach deals with. We ain't talking about how to understand the book of Sirach and look at it. But it says, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. Why? Because it was in a certain language, that they, period. What's the language? It says, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. Because I believe some of the book, because some of the books are actually found in the Apocrypha are actually, which obviously is where Sirach is found, are continuations of books found in the Old. So some stuff is Hebrew, can be interpreted with Hebrew or whatever, not whatever, but and some stuff can't, because it was during the Greek time. So some stuff written in Greek. So, and then our people was constantly like basically updating the Hebrew, because we stayed in so many captivities of nations that spoke a different dialect or form of Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? That's basically that. So when you go back so far to certain things, like the tongue was much stronger, or it was much more simpler in the way Hebrew was then. It was, more on point. Then later it was like a diluted version, so they had to labor to interpret the scriptures of the old, obviously, which were written in Hebrew. That's my whole point. See that? Because they're trying to get people, they're trying to translate them from that to the language that's being spoken now, to where the people that speaks this language can get what they saying in their language. Oh, so you're basically saying this. Oh, okay, we call that. But the point is, those things were written in Hebrew. So when you come back to these scriptures, again, this word Exodus, right, is a Greek word. All right. So we know that that's not the name of the book because the name of that book was written by a man that completely spoke Hebrew. You know, it's from a time of complete Hebrew. So this word Exodus, we know, is Greek, as you see. We can go to the scripture where it's found. Hold on, Salakia. Exodus. 1 second. Right here. New Testament. That's where you find the word Exodus at. See, Exodus. It's in the New Testament, which is Greek. See that? So we can go to Luke 9, which we are in, or actually Hebrews 11 and 22. By faith, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandment concerning his bones. See that? So let's read it again. By faith, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandment. So obviously talking about the time when they will leave Egypt or was getting ready to leave Egypt, or would leave Egypt. He gave them commandment, Joseph, that is, to take up his bones. So when you go into this word departing, that's what Exodus means, right? But we know this is not, again, the name of that book, not only because it's not Hebrew.
Strong's G, 1841, Exodus. Exodus.
But because it means not only exit, but it means the close of one's career, one's final fate, departure from life, or decease. It actually goes into decease, which is the other instances where you can find it in. Luke 9:31, it says, who appeared in glory and spake of his decease. See that? And spake of his decease, which he should accomplish at Jerusalem. Talking about Yahweh Shai. All right. 1 Peter 1, and that, what word do you think is here? The same word that we're reading right here regarding the departure that was spoke about in Exodus 11, regarding, or alluding to when we left the children of Israel, when we left Egypt, But instead, that same word Exodus is used for this word decease, talking about Yahweh Shai, after he did the transfiguration. He told him he was going to die. See that? Decease. Exodus.
Strong's G, 1841, Exodus. Exodus.
So to go ahead and get to it, this word Exodus is not it. It's not. It's gonna be an Exodus, right? There was an Exodus, if you will, but that wasn't the meaning, true meaning. That wasn't the title. That's not the true title of that book. All right. The true title of the book, right? When you go into it, you could do secular, which this is a degree of research history. It's gonna tell you the word actually here is, they say Shamoth, the Yiddish, but it's SHAMAWATH, right? That's the name of the book Exodus, right here. So when you read it, Exodus 1:1, it says, now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. All right. Now, when you get into just the writing of it, when it was translated, you had now these, which would be right here, Wa, Allah, SHAMAWATH. See that? So that's and, because that's Wa, Wa Allah, right? Meaning now these, and then you will have what? SHAMAWATH, which means what? Because there is no R, so I know a word right here for it in Hebrew. So it's just straight Wa Allah, right? Wa Allah, SHAMAWATH, which will be now these, the names. See? Wa Allah, which is now these, and then SHAMAWATH, jumping straight to the names, is the names. See that? SHAMAWATH, as you see right here, SHAMAWATH, and it's telling you right here, it goes back, the root of it, see this is the root, is SHAM, all right? And then when we pull this up, it lets you know it's what? It's a construct word, obviously, because you have SHAM in it with WATH, all right? But nonetheless, when you get into what this means, it's not at all telling you, like, because when you read the book of Exodus, it's a bunch of stuff that went on, but it was ultimately, to tell you certain specifics, but all coming together to make one overall message to you, to the Lord's people, the Hebrew Israelites that obviously exist today, because the Bible wouldn't be here today, And that message is completely different from what the message of this word Exodus gives you, which could mean exit, you know what I'm saying? But it also means to decease. See that? Moreover, back in 2 Peter 1:15, moreover, I will endeavor that ye may be able after my decease to have these things always in remembrance. When you get into that word again, decease, that word decease is Exodus.
Strong's G 1841, Exodus. Exodus.
Exit, depart, the close of one's career. That's not what's going on. That's not the end of it's not the end. It wasn't the end of us at the end of what's known as the book of Exodus, or at the end of our time of Egypt. We had an exodus in the sense of it being an exit, but our career didn't come to a close. You know what I'm saying? You could say, well, our career in Egypt came to a close, but yeah, that still wasn't, like, we was just getting started. That wasn't, no. Because remember, we haven't even started living yet, just like the time of now. Our life is just about to begin. Our world is just about to begin during this time. So if it said that we're going to have another Exodus, but the word, which is supposed to make you reminisce to the time of what they, have as the Exodus, or just our simple departing, right? Because that's what Exodus would mean, in the context of that, from Egypt. That just would be that. Kind of lost my train of thought, but it's more to it. It's that couldn't be the case because our career didn't come to an end. So we couldn't get everything that the Lord is that couldn't be it, right? One's final fate, departure from life, decease. And that damn sure ain't what happened. We're not gonna decease. There's not gonna be another Exodus. So there's not going to be an exodus in any of those regards. And it's way more than the Lord trying to tell us. He showed us through to us, and it's trying to show to us through not only a title of one book, but through the title of all the books in the scriptures. And in this particular book, it's way more that he's trying to say to us than we made an exit, or we're going to make another exit. No. So when we come back here, because there ain't gonna be no decease. When you go into the word, right, the names, right, which is the name of Exodus. I read the book of the Exodus, the actual name, SHAMAWATH. When you go into it, it says what?
Strong's H 8034, shame.
It says name, reputation, fame, glory. See that? The name, memorial as the designation of God. We're going to get into that memorial monument. So that's that. So the name, we got a name. We end up developing a name when you read the book of Exodus, quote unquote Exodus, which again is SHAMAWATH, right? We didn't just have an exit during when you read that book. That's not the message. Yeah, we left, but the main thing that's supposed to be conveyed to us is the fact that what we got a name. We got a name through getting the Lord's name. The Lord let us know we was a people because we was basically a people of no name during that time. So now we can get into this. See that? Because when you go to Deuteronomy 7, and again, the things written aforetime are written for our learning. When you go to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, it says, "But thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, Yahweh." Why did the Lord have to talk to us? Because before he found us, we was no people, basically. We was destroyed just like the time. And that's how you know who the Israelites are today. If the Lord done wrote in the Bible again, right? That what? That another Exodus is gonna happen, which he said. You know, just roll with the spirit. This is Jeremiah 16, and God will restore them. See that? So, and we obviously go back from just being a people in the land of Egypt, but then you go all the way back. That'll go into why Genesis came first, because I'll take us back to Genesis, because it was during Genesis when we was a people, you know, pre-flood, pre-diluvian, you know, as they like to call it, state, you know, which is time before the flood. So, or pre-antediluvian, or however it goes, pre-diluvian or pre-antediluvian, but nonetheless, or antediluvian, pre-diluvian or pre-antediluvian. Look it up, but nonetheless, meaning just before the flood. Now, during that time, what you read about that, we're in the book of Genesis. So it makes sense the book went Genesis and Exodus, and you'll see why. Because when you go back again before Exodus, it wasn't that we just came to the earth. We was just, you know, becoming a people. We was never nothing. No, that was just, we actually was disrupted as a people during the garden when we was the sons and daughters of God. And then the serpent came, got us to eat, and just completely fall off, leave our estate. And that's what happened. We was kicked out of the garden, the chosen man, chosen woman. And from that point on, we was able to die. We was lost, and the Lord since that point was always set on bringing us back. And he was just used certain of those spirits that are of that make up the sons and daughters of God, you know, to do that, which he started with Abraham. Because again, those weren't the only people on the earth, Adam and Eve. Because again, where did Cain get his wife? Adam and Eve didn't have daughters. It was them two, and they had Abel, who Cain killed, but Cain went on and had a daughter, and then they had a son to replace Abel, which was Seth. So where the hell did Cain's wife come from? If Eve was the only woman, you know? It was many of his stock, and she was the particular Eve he had that the Lord was working with. You know, that's why he said rib. Rib means bone. So we was together. We was ruling all of that pre Exodus from Egypt. You know, pre flood. So during that time, shit got real bad. The Lord flooded the earth. He only left 8 souls, and then the Lord start bringing everybody back through these souls, cutting these people, talking about people not gonna come back through other people. You know, tons of righteous and wicked souls. Now I don't want to say souls, people or entities will come back and play out their wickedness through, you know, these 8 souls. See that? Ultimately, the 3 sons. So make that make sense. There's another cut. Then when you fast forward again, what happens? Now you got the Hebrews, and then one of the Hebrews was Abraham, because Abraham wasn't the only Hebrew. He was just the chosen of the Hebrews, you know? And then he chose his son Isaac, not his son Jacob. I mean Esau. Then, my bad, not his son Ishmael. You know. Then he chose Jacob. Then he chose Jacob's son, not Jacob. He chose Isaac, and then he chose Isaac's son Jacob, right? Not Esau, and that's it. Now he choosing the Israelites. That's what he said in the end. I'm gonna choose you again, and that was already done before Jacob went into Egypt. You know, he was already our God. You know, so that's just to give you insight on what's going on for real, because you know we was a people that had no name at the time, but don't take that completely, which is why the Lord gave us a name, because we was always something. But nonetheless, just like the Lord always existed, man. This is Isaiah 14 and 1. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel." See, meaning again, and set them in their own land. See that? And the stranger shall be joined with to them, and to them with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So the Lord gonna choose Israel again. And when you read this in the different translations, it's gonna tell you again. Yep, NLT. But the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, will have mercy on the descendants of Jacob. He will choose Israel as his special people once again. As he will choose Israel as his special people once again, meaning he did that before, and he will bring them back to settle once again in their own land, and people from many nations will come and join them with them there and unite with the people of Israel. That's a bunch of extra stuff. But nonetheless, the Lord's going to choose his people again. It's the same thing. When did he choose us? When we was in Egypt. But we was already chosen as his people because he was already dealing with Jacob, as he was already dealing with Abraham, as he was already dealing with, Isaac all the way, all the way to Slocky, man. Dang, Jacob, Israel himself. It's just everyone wasn't hip to that. And that's the main thing with Egypt. Everybody gonna become aware of that. Lord might be talking to you on the level already, telling you somebody through the form of, dreams, just feeling, reading the scriptures, you can understand, through the prophets, man. It's a small sanctuary, y'all, but the Lord's gonna have this be known that this is the case and was the case to everybody on high, just like he did in ancient Egypt, to these people today. Name, you got a fucking name, man. That's what the Lord's saying. That's what he's saying. That's why you got to know the meaning of the books, man. That's why we getting into this. SHAMAWATH. All right. But nonetheless, to prove this is Exodus 6 and 2. I'm gonna start at 1. Then Yahweh, right, said to Moses, now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his hand. And the Most High, right, spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am Yahweh. See that? He gave him his name. See that? And I appeared unto Abraham, Isaac, right? He said, I am, man. I am Yahweh. I am the he is, I'm the one that people I'm the one people refer to. I'm that, I'm him. You see that? I'm him. Him. Because Yahweh is him. Motherfuckers be talking about Ahaya, that's just one person. Look, the people that we refer to, the Lord outside of the one outside of you, man, you have to say he is. You could never say I am. It'll never be I is he is. And he's referring to himself as you are to refer to him, which is the he is. So it's Yahweh. It says, and I appeared, which is what he's doing. He said, I am Yah. He said, I am the he is. See that? Meaning that's crazy, man. I'm him like they be saying, but it says, and I appeared unto Abraham and unto Isaac. See, and I appeared unto Abraham and unto Isaac. Not just in Egypt. We didn't just get a name in ancient Egypt. We've been had a name. We had a name before the Lord even allowed Abraham to bring us forth, before Abraham even knew it was possible for him to have children, because he was so old, quote unquote. It says, and unto Isaac and unto Jacob, not knowing, because you're not even old. See, we always, it's things was just being brought back to your memory, man, which is also what SHAMAWATH mean, memorial. You being brought to to your status. You being brought back to truly your remembrance. It wasn't nothing for you to have no child at 100 years old. You come from a people that was immortal. I mean, or living for 1,000 years, man. You know what I'm saying? That was made really to be immortal. Let me put it like that. Because if it was immortal, right, we wouldn't have died. You know? Truly immortal. So again, and I appeared unto Abraham and Isaac, unto Isaac and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty, meaning Allah Shadia, but by my name Yahweh, was I not known to them. See that? And I have also established my covenant with them. He telling Moses this before Moses even lead us out. He like, it been this. Y'all been these people, man. I've been here. I've been set this up. He said, and I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan. See that? The land of their pilgrimage wherein they were strangers. Why? Because that ultimately go back. I hold my tongue for now, man. So, and I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. That's what the book is telling you, man. See that? That's beautiful. It's amazing. Look, man, this thing got power. All right. And it was before that. Because when you go to Isaiah 46 and 10, he said, declaring the end from the beginning. Let's start at 9. Matter of fact, let's start at 8. Remember this and shew yourselves men. See that? Remember this and shew yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old. See that? For I am Yahweh. Right. So you today are to remember the Lord, hey, Jake was messed up. It was people messed up. Suppose he had no name. It was always somebody, because they ain't just coming to existence, prior to everybody knowing that, prior to them really walking in that. And that was made known when he pulled them out of the place that had them down like that. That's what's going on, man. That's what's about to happen this time. He said, remember the things of old. That so you can, through comfort and patience of the through the scriptures, have patience and comfort and hope, man. All right. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Romans 15:4. That's why we're going into this. This is why this is important. It says, remember the former things back in Isaiah 46 and 9. For I am God and there is none else. I am God and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. See that? That's it. And I'm going to jump down to the point. Let me just read on. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executed my counsel from a far country. Yeah, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it. Hearken unto me, ye star-hearted that are far from righteousness. See that? This is going to bring you back, man. Knowing these understandings, this getting this knowledge, man. It's going to help you make it out of damn America, man. Get you right, get yourself right in place, man. You see that? So, you could be one of the names. You can get your name back, man. People got you fucked up. This place got you messed up, man, for lack of better words. I bring near my righteousness, and it shall not be far off. See that? The Lord got it right next to you, man. You don't even realize how much he's saying to you, and how he's saying it to you. Through what? A lot of it's through the meaning of these books. But it says, and my salvation shall not tarry, and I will place salvation in Zion for Israel, my glory. And I will place salvation in Zion for Israel, my glory. So clearly another Exodus is going to happen again. And then through that, we're going to what? We're going to get our name back. But anyway, let me read this. This is Hosea 1 and 9. Then said God, Yahweh, right? The power, call his name, Lo I me, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. You don't got a name, you nothing, you was never nothing. You niggas talking about y'all was kings, y'all niggas is African swinging through trees. You know, you niggas is, you know, whatever the hell, man. You know, it says, there it shall be said unto them. See, there it shall be said unto them, just like in ancient Egypt, ye are the sons of the living God, man. This is the Lord is trying to tell you, man. You know, I'm gonna get one more. This is Revelation 11, and see the two witnesses. All right, meaning the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. Nonetheless, this is Revelation 8 and it's 8, 11 and 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. It's just like or reminiscent of Sodom, ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, the actual physical place, you know, because the same things go on there. So it's obviously gonna go. If a place like this is gonna go down upon these in the same way that place went down upon these things, upon these same things going on. See that? And it's a place also like Egypt, all reminiscent of that. So Exodus is gonna happen there. A people that was said to be no people is gonna be, you know, declared to be the Lord's people and given the name back. They're gonna be given glory. The Lord's gonna get his glory, and people gonna know about Yahweh Bashim Shah by way of that. His name gonna be declared. See that? It says, where also our Lord was crucified. So there it is, man. And the day of the people and kindreds and tongues, meaning all the other people the Lord ain't with, right? And nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half. See that? And not suffer their bodies to be put in graves. See that? So there you go. Just like in ancient Egypt. So when we come back to Jeremiah 16, God will restore them, right? Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, the Lord Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. See that? But the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai liveth. That's what people gonna say, man. It says that brought up the children, because it's by way of Yahweh Shai this time. You know, that the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. Just like he did about it with them in the land of Egypt. So this land of the north will be like Egypt. The land of the north will be the place that's spiritually like Egypt, which obviously is where we at today. We're in that land of the north, North America. See that? Spiritual Egypt. See that? Supposedly not nobody, never was nothing. Don't got a name. No one knows the name of the Lord. They about to find out. It says, and from all the lands whither he have driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I have given unto their fathers, which is crazy because we was only in the scattered, because we really scattered to the land of Egypt. Canaan was already ours. We had a home. We from the garden. We from paradise, man. The Garden of Eden, that was our home. Remember, we was kicked out. See, scattered. But this time we're back in ancient Egypt again, spiritual, which is spiritually and in other places. So the Lord, it's gonna be way bigger. It's gonna be crazy this time. It's not even gonna be comparable. You see that? So the Lord, we're those people, bro. All right. I don't even gotta say too much more. This is we'll close this out, Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou and a holy people unto Yahweh thy God. Yahweh thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. He's talking to us after he's exited us, pulled us out of Egypt. He's given us our name back to us amongst ourselves now. But he just gave us a name and showed his name in front of these people through the exit. See that? But the word of the book is not Exodus, because it's the meaning of it all is us getting our name back. The Lord getting his name, glory being God, remembrance being given back. He's bringing us back to our remembrance. He's like, you above all people the whole time. Why? Because the whole time you were. The Lord did not set his love upon you. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you refuse of all people. It says, but because Yahweh loved you and because he will keep the oath which he swore unto your fathers, have Yahweh brought you out. See that? He will keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, right? had the Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you. See, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And what does redeem mean? Redeem means what? The word redeem is padah, right? For dumbass niggas out there talking shit, those that's getting rescued, man. You know, it's just my name, Padah, and it's just it's the same name as my first name, which is Shariat, one who escapes a fucking onslaught, bro. Cause I know what's going on. The Lord allowed me to know what's going on. You know, that's what it's about. That's what it's from. But anyway, so the Lord, he like, look, he talking to us, giving us our remembrance back. All right. It's that simple. He's like, look, man, y'all been actually somebody. I swore to your people. Yeah, y'all was the sons of, this is the Lord doing, man. Exodus. It's all going to happen through the exit, all bringing forth, name, and all for those names of that are written in his book, because when you go back again, go ahead and shut down, right? Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob, right? So that's basically it, man. These are the names. So these people were written in the Lord's book of life. They were known. Like the Lord said, he said, rejoice for your names are written in that the spirits are not subject. Rejoice not because the spirits are subject unto you, but rejoice because your names are written in the book of heaven. See that? That's showing you another, what they call Exodus is about to happen again, but SHAMAWATH, right? It's the vibration of that book, SHAMAWATH. And throughout the whole book, the Lord was showing us we was somebody, man. They casted Joseph into Egypt like he was nothing, but he's the damn son of Jacob, Yasher Allah, man. He was put over everybody because of that. He was somebody. They tried to put him in prison like he was nothing, and he had something that made him highly valuable. He was the discerner of dreams, man. He had the spirit of the powers in him, man. He was over Pharaoh. Pharaoh needed him. And that's another thing too, right? That's the last thing I want to touch on with this. So when you get into that I just said, right? It says the name, right? We got fame, glory, all that through. That's what happened to Joseph. He got fame, glory. We left Egypt. We had all type of everything given back unto us, man. Like when we left, they arrayed us, bro. The Lord, we came up. I want to say that's Exodus. Yup. Let me jump here real quick. See, as you have Exodus of Israel, right? But this right here proves that it wasn't just about an Exodus. Which is why it's not the name of the book. And Exodus 12:33, and the Egyptians were urging upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said we be all dead, man. So they was trying to hurry up and get us up out of there. But that's what the movie, the story, the account, what went on. The message is not just about us getting, hurry to getting up out of here, like out of ancient Egypt. No, it's us getting a name, and all this is happening. That's happening, and so we can get a name, which is why they want to get us out of there, because they people was dying. But this the point, and the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians' jewels. See, and they borrowed of the Egyptians' jewels, and they borrowed of the Egyptians' jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. Imagine pure silver, pure gold. You know how much money, like real, everything. And the Lord Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so they lent unto them such as they require, and they spoiled the Egyptians. See that? So we left with that fame and that glory. Then when you jump down here, when they was chasing us, when we was on our way out completely, it says Exodus 14 and 31, and Israel saw the great work which Yahweh did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared Yahweh and believed Yahweh. See that? And his servant Moses. Now, when you come back to this, right? So that's fame, glory, all that, bringing us to our memory monument. You know, like we written about in Egypt on their tombs. You know what I'm saying? Look it up, look into it. It says the name as designation of God. And these same people said that they have disappeared. No, they haven't. They just back in the same state they was in ancient time, about to go through this and going through the same process they about to get ready to go through on a higher level in this time. Lord ain't say those people for them to just disappear. That don't make no sense. It's us. But when you get into this, right, the word designation, the choosing and naming of someone to be the holder of an official position, thus showing you when we come out of here, we take over. See that? We're being appointed to be, and that's why the Lord told us once we left, we was above all people. We were supposed to go on and rule, but we didn't. We went on being simple, not fucking listening, and end up back in the same scenario trying to be like these people. And we're supposed to rule over them. But the difference is it won't happen this time. That's why the Lord, he said it's going to be greater. Niggas going into captivity after this, man. The Egyptians going into captivity this time. Esau, Pharaoh, they not going to chase us and all. We going to chase them, you know? It's going to be crazy. It says the action of choosing a place for a special purpose or giving it a special status. See that? The place he's choosing is you for the purpose of giving it a special status. The place he's choosing is you to put his name, to put the glory, to put his law, statutes, commandments, his knowledge, wisdom, understanding, to get the earth back to where it was and put these people in the check, you know, and punish who's supposed to be punished, you know, all for the purpose of you being with the design of you having a name and glory, you know, being the gods on earth again. See, the sons and daughters of God. A name, description, or title, typically one that is officially bestowed. And that title, description, SHAMAWATH, see that? Or SHAM is going to be what? Kings and priests, royal nation, holy people, above all people, gods. See, and it's spiritual. It says a group of tribes banded together under the designation, you know, sheep eaters. So it's gonna be heavy, man. Horrific, tag, style, all that. That's what the Lord has given us. So we going back to that designation to basically get the garden back after this. See that? The Genesis. Ra'ashayath, right? Which we know is true because we was above all the animals and had dominion over every animal on the earth, every animal of the earth, you know, including the spiritual animals, the people. And I got one last thing I want to bring out. See right here, tabernacle erected. All right. But we're the tabernacle. So, matter of fact, Salaki, I ain't even the right one. I said 46. Oh, what? Not Exodus, I meant Genesis, which leads you into it. So Jacob moves into Egypt, right? Now, when you jump down, check this out. And it's all because of why? The name, who we were. That's how you gonna come out of this and get your name back. Who are we? This is Exodus 46 and 31. It says, and Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house, I will go up and shoot Pharaoh and say unto him, my brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me. And the men are shepherds. See, and the men are shepherds, for their trade had been to feed cattle. Listen how spiritual this is. And the men are shepherds, for their trade had been to feed cattle. That's our business. And they have brought their flocks and their herds and all they have. So you got the men who were set up just to feed cattle. They actually, they're shepherds. And they were set up to just deal with cattle, meaning lead, groom, use and position these cattle to produce, you know, what's needed. You see that? Obviously, by them having the knowledge and understanding to do that by way of Yahweh. and they brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have, and they got their families. It says, and it shall come to pass. So that's spiritual, right? It says, and it shall come to pass when Pharaoh shall call you and shall say, what is your occupation? That ye shall say, thy servant's trade had been about cattle from our youth, from our very beginning until now, both we and also our fathers. See, our trade has been about cattle. And who's the cattle given to? Adam. See that? So this is all leading. This is all because this is in Egypt. Genesis, and notice how Genesis and Exodus go right into each other. SHAMAWATH. All of it showing you us about our name and us getting our name back. So the way you're gonna get all of this is by remembering your name. You see that? Them the names. The Lord's getting those that have been that's about the cattle, that understand what's going on. We've been given this the dominion. We're over these people. We're set up to lead flocks. That means flocks of people. It says that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And that's why you want to do that. Everything they hate, man. We're going to protest. We're going to strike through the spirit. They don't do that. Every shepherd is abomination unto the Egyptians. These people do as thou wilt. We're about them leading, putting people in order, telling them they going to hell off. Now, hell no. You know? So again, and it shall come to pass when Pharaoh shall call you and ye and shall say, what is your occupation? That ye shall say, thy service trade hath been about cattle from our youth even till now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. See that? We here to get his knowledge, wisdom, understanding out, be about this, man. You know, so we're the people that's over the cattle, that leads and use and gets actual production. That's it, man. That we're the sons and daughters of God, man. And you women out there, same thing. You know, you just do it in your lot, man. You know, crazy. So it's only by having knowledge of this and by way of being about this in the spirit now, because obviously we don't have actual cattle, but all that was a figure for what the Lord was actually showing you. We wasn't having dominion, you know, just over of course you got dominion over a damn whatever in the water. You know what I'm saying? Of course you got dominion over an ant. But again, men need to understand that they are beasts themselves. All right. And in this here, Genesis 1:27. So God, Yahweh created, right, man in his own image, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That's now. And in the image of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, what's the image of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua? Wisdom. See that? His wisdom, which is the knowledge and understanding. See that? Male and female created he them. See that? You sons and you daughters supposed to have this to your measure during this time. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushua blessed them, and Yahweh said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth. See that? And subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that move upon the earth. See that? Every moving thing. Every moving thing. You know? So that's all the cattle. And he said, this has been our trade from the beginning, but we left it. But it's by way of understanding the meaning of the word of the book, of the title of the book known as Exodus, which is actually SHAMAWATH, to where we'll be able to recognize that and get back to that. So now this can come back to us. So with that, I'm going to say, call Halom like Yahweh Bashem Yahushua to next.